So unless you've been living under a rock for the past month or so, you've probably heard the rumors that there's a new Batman Arkham game being developed by Rocksteady at the moment, and it could be limited to PlayStation consoles. When I first got this news sent to me from a buddy of mine, all I could really think is like, yeah, alright man, I've heard this one before. I didn't really want to think too much of it because there's already been canceled Arkham sequels in the past, and even if this game being in development is true, it's gonna be about 4 or 5 years before it comes out at best.
Oh, for the love of God, how much longer?
The more I started to see this report though, the more it made me wonder what the story of an Arkham game would even be at this point. I mean, it's been 9 years since our last entry into the Arkham franchise, not including a mobile game, 2 VR games, and a Suicide Squad game that nobody wants to talk about. I think the closest we ever got to a true Arkham sequel was the Project Sabbath leaks from around 2019, if I'm not mistaken. And if you haven't heard of this before, I'll go ahead and go over it real quick. It was going to be a game featuring Damian Wayne as our main Batman in a sort of Batman Beyond inspired suit. It also would have had the Nemesis system involved in its gameplay, which I really can't give my opinions on because I've never played Shadow of Mordor before. I'm sure it would have been interesting. I'm not sure how this game would have been received though had it actually been released. If you ask any random person who their least favorite Robin is, 9 times out of 10 they're probably going to say Damian Wayne. And then I'm the 10th person who says Tim Drake, but that's a video for another day. That doesn't mean that the game couldn't have panned out though, because it could have also been an introduction for a lot of people to Damian Wayne as a character, and if handled correctly, I'm sure it would have been just fine. There's even some concept art that goes with these leaks. They show that the game would have featured returning villains such as Two-Face, the Penguin, and a resurrected Poison Ivy, but it also would have had new villains such as Gorilla Grodd, the daughter of Black Mask, and famous Batman villain, Flamingo. And I already know what you're thinking. Oh my god, how is he gonna fight the Flamingo? But I would counter that with the how the fuck is he gonna fight a telepathic gorilla? Probably some gorilla repellent bat spray, I don't know. This game eventually was canned just for the Suicide Squad and Gotham Knights games to immediately be put into development, and they were both massive hits. Everybody loved them, and Warner Brothers made $1 billion. Now, in all honesty, these leaks have become too famous over the years for this project to ever be resurrected, but if Warner Brothers wanted to, they could. What are some of the other options we could get though? As I said before, there was a sequel to the Arkham series that came out this year in the Suicide Squad game, and it did make over $17 billion. Warner Brothers doesn't exactly have to follow up with that story though, seeing as it had Batman dying, even though it was a clone of Batman, but don't worry about it. But if they wanted to, they could just take the story in an entirely different direction and make the Suicide Squad game non-canon. Or they could just base the events of this game before the Suicide Squad game so they really wouldn't have to acknowledge it at all, and then Warner Brothers can be happy that their dog shit game is canon. Or they could just continue the story after the Suicide Squad game, because like I just said, Batman's not really dead, it was just a clone of him. Nobody cares. I'm hoping this isn't the outcome that we get, but knowing Warner Brothers, it is a possibility. I think one of the more likely outcomes is that this game will be another prequel to Arkham Asylum with Roger Craig Smith voicing Batman, and this is probably the one that I'm hoping most happens. There's still a big enough gap between Origins and Asylum for plenty of stories to be told. If they wanted to, I'm sure they could fit a whole nother trilogy in between there. With the unfortunate passing of Kevin Conroy, I just feel like this is the best option for them to take. Roger Craig Smith is probably my second favorite voice actor for the character after Kevin Conroy. He just brings a lot of that emotion that you would want to see, especially from a younger, angrier version of Batman. As far as what villains he would be facing in those games, I mean, anybody other than Joker is fine with me. We've had enough Joker in the Arkham series. They could bring back Anarchy and make him more of an experienced threat this time, or we could actually see the origins of Two-Face in this universe. There's a lot of directions they could go, and that's why I feel like it's the most likely outcome that we get an Arkham Origins sequel over anything. More than anything, I wish they would just make a Nightwing solo game. Set it in Bloodhaven, set it in Gotham, I really don't care, dude. Just give me a Nightwing game already. If that performed well, they could start making a bunch of spin-off games, like give Red Hood his own game, give Batgirl her own game, give the Penguin his own game, I don't care. Anyways though, that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know down below what kind of theories y'all have about what the next Arkham game could be. Leave a like if you enjoyed, it definitely helps me out, and keep it poppin', pussies.